Be talking about today how you can have a clue as to if you in yourself holistically are in a better place or are in a more authentic place, and it is not what you think.
From beautiful seas to flourishing legacies.
So over the next few weeks, God willing, we're going to be talking about one of the things that I talk about in my book, The Woke Writer. And it's the idea of having these things that I call blinders. And a blinder is something that blocks you from the most purest part of you and the best version of yourself, your truest nature. And these blinders can come in so many forms, but one of the biggest blinders that we will find when we are on a path of growth, when we are in a path of change or anything, even healing, anything that is different, is toxic people. And they seem to be the biggest and hardest things to deal with. And I myself have dealt with so many, and it took me so many lessons that I wish I had been told before, and lessons which I am going to be talking to you about over the next few weeks, and hopefully you can benefit from my experiences and share your own in the comments wherever you are listening or watching this. So I began this video by asking how you know if you are in a more authentic place in yourself, right? True authenticity, the best version of yourself. And the way that you know is if a narcissist rages at you. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? The reason why that is interesting is because when a narcissist rages at you, it shows to everyone, and also to you, hopefully, and to them, that you are not what they want you to be, right? And if you want to find out a definition of narcissism, there are numerous videos out there. There are so many communities, so many things done on this topic, so please do have a look and then maybe come back and have another listen to this as well. But it's the idea that the narcissist begins to rage at you, and the only time that a narcissist will rage at you is when you are doing what they don't want you to do, and there is a clash between your personality and what they want from you as a person, right? So most of the time, that is why a narcissist will rage at you. So it might be, when it actually happens, it might be a difficult situation at the time, because no one likes to be raged at. And by rage, I mean shouted or passive aggressive rage, or whatever aggression shows itself in and whatever kind of narcissist you're dealing with. A very difficult person who is very entitled, who is very shame driven, and these kind of people will rage in different ways, again depending on what they identify as with their false self, right? Because it's all a false self, and the biggest fear of them is to be shown that their false self isn't impressing anybody. And when we are our most authentic self and we are our best version of ourselves, what that does, it serves as a mirror for that person who is narcissistic. And I'm not talking about NPD, I'm not talking about anything that's been diagnosed, I'm talking about people with narcissistic qualities, and the list can go on. And again, I'm going to be talking about this actually in the next few weeks. I felt like I really wanted to share it with you in case you're going through what I was going through with these people as well. So what tends to happen is that this false self and this authentic self, when they are face to face with each other, what happens is there is this mirror that happens. And when someone is a diamond, right, because you at your best self, you are a jewel, you are a gem, you are beautiful, you are this beautiful seed, right? And what happens is when there is someone who is pretending and just believes that they are all of these things, but then they see the contrast in you as a person, it can really shake their foundation and their world. And there's almost like this thing that happens which is unsaid, and you've stepped out. By being your authentic self, you have stepped out of the game that the narcissist or the very toxic person or the narcissistic person is playing. And when you step out of that game and you step into true self and you step into the authentic version of yourself, the narcissist is not getting what they want from you because you no longer do things to please people just for the sake of pleasing people, because if you don't, then you feel like you have lost your worth, right? And it's such an interesting game because there's on one side the taker, and then on the other side is the giver. And when these two sides mash together from a place of insecurity, what tends to happen is that they literally feed into each other, and it works almost like as if it's natural, except it is the most unnatural and the most unhealthy thing. Codependent and the narcissist, their relationship together is the most unhealthy and unnatural thing in the world, because it is harmful for both of them, right? So the narcissist continues living in this false self that they pretend to be, and then there's a codependent who feeds that image, and they are also trying to control. They're both trying to control. The giver is controlling by giving, the narcissist is controlling by taking, whether that is taking energy, time, money, resources, whatever it is that is on the agenda. And there is always an agenda. And for a person who is very linked to themselves, there is this need that is no longer there anymore, and instead there is this freedom, and there is this freedom to almost be free and just enjoy, and almost like a playfulness as well, and laughter, and just genuinely enjoying life, right? And when the narcissist sees that, there's almost this like realization that, oh my gosh, they are not playing the game anymore. They don't see me or admire me as they once did. And that is when they will get very angry, because you're literally shaking their sense of self just by being yourself, just by being authentic, just by no longer playing the game, no longer giving because you feel obligated to give, but doing it out of true fullness and doing it out of a place of richness, right? There's this overfilling of richness within yourself, and the narcissist will rage at you. So that is a sign, and it is painful at the time. Obviously, if they rage at you in front of a whole bunch of people, and there's this shame aspect to it, but there is a beautiful sign when you reflect upon it, that, oh my gosh, this is a sign that I have grown so much that, number one, our creator, Allah, says in the Quran that he will never burden us more than we can bear, right? لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. And that is in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the second chapter of the Quran, where Allah says he will never burden you more than you can bear. And sometimes it is such an unbearable thought that someone is going to rage at you, especially as someone of authority, someone who's in a greater position, societally or status or whatever it is, and the thought of them raging at you is unthinkable, right? But then when you get to a stage where they do it, and the worst thing that could have happened, there's this feeling of, obviously there's this sadness, there's this grief. You're kind of letting go of this idea that you hoped that you could be with this person or with these people, because there are enablers around who allow this kind of behavior. But then there's this insight that happens, and the insight is that this happened because I was being true to myself. Not just myself, but I was being true to the best version of myself. And that caused this person to rage at me. And that caused me to see everyone who was enabling that behavior. And that is a sign that I'm doing the right thing. And that is a sign that I am ready to carry this burden of grief, of letting go, right? Of that nonsense, of that negativity, of that behavior, because it's not righteous to people please. And I made a video on that as well recently, where it's not righteous to people please. So on that note, I really hope that next time, and if there ever comes a time that a narcissist is going to rage at you, that you understand that it's actually a really good sign that you are in a good place and you are growing. And it might make you feel like you're going backwards for a small while, at least soon after they rage at you, or after the times they rage at you, however many times that is. But just continue on your journey of growth and keep being the best version of yourself. And when the people become more open in their aggression toward you, and they begin to show themselves a little bit more because you've left the game, then that's a beautiful sign. That's something to celebrate. It's not something to grieve over for too long. Grief, yes, there's a time and place for it, and give yourself that time and place to let go of those relationships or the idea of them. But it's a time to celebrate. It's a time to celebrate yourself. So with that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And one small thing is just to reflect over your interactions with people who you might find difficult, and just kind of look and observe to see what the pattern is, what the game is. If you are playing the game, if you no longer want to play the game, what will happen if you stop playing the game? I keep talking about the game, but it really is a game when you are around certain people who have narcissistic qualities. To them, it's a game. It's a game of power. It's a game of pull and push, and it's so much easier just to leave the game and just be yourself, right? So anyway, if you want to learn more about how to let go in general, there is a free downloadable. All the links are wherever you are watching or listening to this. And there is also a course that I have created called the Woke Writer course. It's based on my book, The Woke Writer. And it is a course which talks about living in a way where we live our true purpose based on inspiration. So I don't have to be a writer to take the course, but it is something that will apply to anyone who wants to create a masterpiece, anyone who wants to create a meaningful legacy. This will definitely be something that you might find beneficial. All the details again below. And also, thank you so much for being here with me. Please share this video. And I'm also offering one-on-one coaching sessions as well. So the session is free. So all of, like I said, the information is below. Have a beautiful and blessed day, everybody. And please celebrate yourself. Celebrate the negativity that comes toward you. Celebrate the way you react to it in a way of integrity, and keep being the best version of yourself. Have a beautiful day and plant those beautiful seeds. Peace, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.